Hello, hi guys, how are you? I hope you are fine, whatever you are, whatever you're doing. I'm sending my regards to all of you. You're with me, Felix Mbewe, also known as Bwana Mbeu, the name that simply means the master of seed. I've been doing crop farming for close to 10 years now. And the years before that, grown up at a farm, been doing all kinds of activities. So in this video, I'll discuss with you and highlight a number of things that pertain to the kind of farming that I love so much, something that is so dear to me. And this is conservation farming. So conservation farming simply means sustainable farming or climate smart farming, as others would put it, farming God's way, back to Eden, and regenerative agriculture. Different terminologies, but simply meaning the same thing, which is protecting the land, the environment, the crops, vegetation, or taking back the soil to its original state. Meaning, if you follow the creation story in the Bible, for instance, when the world was created or made, it was made in such a state that it wasn't deformed or disturbed by agricultural practices or human development, urbanization, technology, deforestation, and all kinds of activities that have come as a result of human activities. So, because of that, or if you follow different beliefs that you have about how the world started, whatever you call it, the Big Bang or anything, the creation story, they all point to the same thing, that there is a master of source. So that source, or the master, or the source of all creation, implies that everything has got a source or started from somewhere and is the original state of things. So that source has its original form, for instance, of how things were in the original state. So conservation farming now tries to take back farming to that form in terms of the way the world was then during creation, and the way agriculture was done by God, for instance, himself, which was there was enough manure in the ground to grow any crop, any tree, any fruit, or anything that grows out of the ground. Then came in the activities and development from man and distorted all that. So what we simply do now is to make sure that we move away to almost zero usage of chemicals, fertilizers, and all when farming. And you see, from my own experience and the experience of others who've done conservation farming before, is number one, the yield is always higher, bigger, almost double compared to the conventional way of farming. Why? Because in the soil, there are living organisms that support the growth of any crop that you might plant. But when you spray chemicals, when you apply fertilizers, all that is disturbed or killed. So when you get to start using climate smart farming, you are not only bringing back the normal balance, but you are bringing back to life the organisms that were killed or disturbed. So, simply put, that is what climate smart farming implies or means. So you get to eat healthy foods grown in a sustainable and healthy way. And the benefit is not only to you as a person, but to the crop itself, to the ground or the soil, and to the global community. Because you realize that even the water usage under conservation is minimal. You don't need to water everywhere, even in places that you don't need to use. You get to water at a particular crop or a plant station that you have. So the mechanism only demands for very simple things. For example, you need just to use dry grass, the grass within, the leaves, dry trees, ashes, which acts as a lime. Then you need to weed specifically where there is a crop. Then where you don't need the weeds, you apply the mulch to close up on the weeds that you do not need in your field. Meaning you do not need to use herbicides. And as fertilizer, you get to know or learn how to make a compost manure. Then that is the food for your crops or your trees. And there's also another component where you use a mixture of animals. For example, fish, a fish pond, and the same water you get to use it to water your crops. And also the nitrogen and ammonia from the water is also good and necessary for your crops. It goes back to the field. The same food again which is produced in your fields and from the animal waste, you take it back to the fish it eats. Those are just examples of what we do under mixed and conservation farming. Why do I advocate for this? It's for one simple reason. Our bodies, by biology and natural identity, they are meant to feed on healthy, organic and natural food. And that makes you to have a normal body that has all the nutrients that it needs. And those can be found in those organic crops. So it is important, it is healthy, and it is good not just for you, but for the crops, for your animals, and even just for life to be as natural as possible. For your own information, for example, these bushes that we preserve and the trees that we have here, they consume a lot of carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide from the industries that we have around here, because there's a lot of industrialization just away from these farms. So the trees are very important in that regard. So people need to plant trees, even just one tree in each yard, in each plot. And that will help you to have even normal rainfalls. As another typical example here, it rains quite often and massively. Why? Because there are a lot of trees. And a few kilometers away from here, it's a different story. It's dry. So these are visible examples of climate change, deforestation, and disturbance of the natural ecosystem, which we need to build back. So you've been with me, guys, Felix. If you want to learn more, check out my YouTube channel. Look out for Felix Mbewe. Subscribe. Check out my LinkedIn, same names. Facebook, you can search for Bwana Mbewe or Felix Mbewe. You can search for our farms, Umuntu Farms, our social enterprise that focuses on teaching farmers conservation farming, Love for Humanity Foundation. You learn a lot. You can join and get to see how you can be part of a group that learns or teaches conservation. There are other opportunities that we do provide, especially for graduates and other people in college and in schools. And those who've not been to school but who've got a passion for farming, look it up and see how you can join and be part of this movement. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for watching. Love you guys. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Send your comments, send your reactions in the comment sections. Let's get talking. I'll be so glad to hear from you. It's been a pleasure. It's been good hearing from you. Take care of yourselves. And remember to be good to your environment, and the environment in turn will be good to you. See you guys. Ciao, ciao.